Welcome back to Demon Slayer Anime Review, special number 2. This we're reviewing the third arc that came right after the anime. This is the Swordsmith Village arc. You might be thinking, third arc, what about in the last video you did, this one you did the Red Light District, why haven't you reviewed the Demon Train arc? Good reason, because it's going to be adapted to a film. That's the only reason why. And this is the stuff that comes right after that. Swordsmith Village basically takes up chapters 100 to 127 of the manga. By far the second longest arc of the entire series. 28 chapters. This one sees the main character Tadro team up with two pillars. These were the Love and Miss Pillar. The Love Pillar, her name is Masari Kanjuri, and the Miss Pillar is Marchito Togiko. Yes. Now, the arc starts off, and of course, there's something interesting happened with Nezuko. We'll get to that. The arc starts off with the fact that Tejiro, basically, he had shipped his sword in the previous arc and he wanted to get repaired. The guy who usually repairs it for him tells him to not bother with him, and he's like someone suggested him he go to Swords Village, and he's like, okay, can I go to Swords Village? Like, sure. So we have one of the cleanuppers basically take him to Swords Village, but before they go, they blindfold him, they get earplugs and freaking nose plugs. Because at least the rare knew, yeah, he has a good sense of smell, so they roll it in. So he hops on the woman's back, she carries him straight to the village. Where this place is completely unknown. According to what they explained in the series, is that the Swords Village frequently moves around a lot, so this is his current location. And they get there with blindfold, nose plug, earplug, and this is Swords Village. He's like, what does that smell? Oh, is that a hot spring I smell? He says, yes, we have a hot spring. And the first chapter ends with seeing the Love Pillar coming out of the hot spring, and she's completely naked. Yep, and she's in the first portion of this arc before she disappears, before she comes back later. The very next few chapters has her basically meet up with Tojiro, very happy to see him, though when she first meets, she's basically in her robe, and she's like, oh, hold on, okay, slow down, you're about to fall out of your robe. Like, and she's like, she doesn't really care. The fact that she's falling out of her outfit. And I love the chemistry between these two. I mean, yes, of course, it's explained of a bit of a backstory is explained in this particular arc, that, and of course, the reason why she joined the Demon Slayer Corps, because she wanted to find a guy to marry, a very handsome guy. Despite the fact she's talking to one right now, I'm sure a lot of ladies in the arc basically probably find it very attractive. And as far as I can tell for this series, the writer has never specifically gave him a love interest. I mean, there's possibility of the female swordsman, so there's a woman who basically was with him in the final selection. It's possible that he might have feelings for her or a few other women, but it's never really delved into the chapters I've read. It's possible he could fall in love with this woman because she's smoking hot, and she loves exposing her chest, and she also tickles Nezuko, which I thought was so adorable, despite the fact she's supposed to be like a couple years younger than the main character, because she can shrink down because one of her D abilities. And she first was, as later on first was Nejo-chan, which I thought was really nice of her to do. She referred to, because this is of course the Japanese spelling stuff, she was a Toshiro-kan, which is fine. And they interact for a little while. Of course, she gives her permission to stay another day because she has the ability to do that. And then she disappears. She's not, and of course she does mention the Miss Pillar. He technically showed up in the retraining arc, but this is kind of like his, first proper appearance, per se. He did nothing in that previous arc. Yeah, she disappears. Where she goes off to is never explained. She shows up toward the end of the arc, because, it's considered the arc won't want to bring the character back. And so Tojiro meets up with the Miss Pillar. They talk for a bit, and he doesn't really know who he is. I mean, Tojiro kind of remembers it because of the retraining arc. And, when they first meet, it's when he's beating up another swordsman, who apparently is not has very poor social skills. This might be a very good swordsman. He has very poor social skills, and also, even though his sword's damaged, they can't repair it for some reason. I don't know why. So they want to key to this particular object, and of course, he wanted to get the sword from this person, and of course, they later on destroy the thing, this particular doll. To get the sword off, it's very rusted, but the guy basically fixes it for him. And apparently, it's a very powerful sword. Of course, he later integrates. Of course, they explain later on that he integrates the guard from the flame pillar. Yeah, I'll get to that soon. I'll get to probably a little bit more when I talk about the pillar training arc. Yep. And of course, the demon shows up in this particular one. Yes, demon. Yes, there is a demon. Why not? Because, well, it's a frickin' demon. Yeah. His name is Hezekiah. Yeah, he's here for pretty much most of this arc from this point forward. Right after Tojo gets his sword. Yeah, he's here for pretty much up until like the last chapter. hmm And pretty much when he shows up, that's when the action kicks off. Yeah, a lot of big action. Basically, I spent a lot of time fighting him the whole arc. And the village itself is not exactly attacked per se, though Tojiro is basically thanked for protecting one of the swordsmen. As for the guy who's normally known for who basically fixed the sword last time, he doesn't really do anything in this arc. Eventually, the guy is defeated when the love pillar shows up again. And at one point, when she's like hurt, it's like, okay, we cannot let her die, because even Tojiro probably realizes, though, yeah, the last two pillars he worked with actually got killed. Well, first one got killed, second one got wounded, so he had to retire. He did not want anything happen to her, so he felt as though she was important. So basically, she's the key to defeating this guy. Eventually, they do. Though something interesting happened with Nezuko. They took off mouth guard, and she. Now, this is by far the second time they've done this. Now, she takes it off, and she actually can walk in sunlight. Yep, it's she can walk in sunlight. Everyone's like shocked at this, but no, Tojiro is like the most happy to see the fact that he can actually walk in sunlight again. This also kind of means he doesn't have to carry around that big box anymore. Yeah, the box he's carrying around with since the second arc of the series. Yes, because he got it at the end of the first arc. This kind of means maybe he doesn't really need to carry the thing around anymore. Well, he probably doesn't have to carry his history anymore. He probably can use to carry supplies. Yeah, it's possible he can do that. There's nothing that says he can't do it. No, not really. And like like the ending of this particular arc is so happy and so joyful, but the aftermath is basically explored at the sort of the very next arc of the series, the pillar training arc, which surprisingly is not very long. It's only like 9 chapters. Yeah, it's really, really short. Yep. My overall feelings of this arc, it's really good, despite the fact being very long, but gets a lot of stuff accomplished. I mean, yes, half of the arc is simply all the action for this particular thing. The first half is basically built up, but basically advanced to the story really well. And in my opinion, the character who is the breakout character this arc is the love pillar. Yeah, she by far is the best character of the whole arc. Yeah, Masuri. Yeah, she is an absolute fantastic character in this arc, and her, like I said, her interactions with Tojiro is great, and she's gonna come back in the next 2 arcs. Miss Pillar, he does some fighting this arc. He doesn't do very much fighting. I mean, a lot of the time, basically, he's very antagonistic toward Tojiro before they kind of become allies. But he doesn't actually is the reason why the main villain is defeated this arc. No, that is Nezuko. She kills him. And then she's also shown that, well, they go because sunlight was coming up, like, Tojiro basically wanted to protect his sister from sunlight. And, well, turns out she actually walks sunlight perfectly fine. Looked like she was a singer. Nope, she's perfectly fine. Yeah. How in the world that she's got this ability? Yeah, this is the arc. This is the thing that has her basically do it. And then the last chapter ends with the main villain of the series, Muzukin, basically finding out about this, and he's like, "If I eat her, I can walk in sunlight." Yeah, which kind of means sets up the arc that comes right after the very next arc of the series, the Infinite Fortress arc, which is the current arc going on right now, which I haven't read the last few chapters that came out. Yeah, they released like 3 chapters since I basically caught up with the series, well, a few weeks ago. And I'm hoping to read the next few chapters really soon, once I finish up the next arc and the following arc as well. Though, when I talk about Infinite Fortress, it might take me a while because this is a long arc. Yeah, currently sitting because, well, they released like chapter 189 this week. So I think it's up to about like 57 chapters. Yep. But I'll talk about that in like 2 videos from now when I talk about the current arc. Yep, so that's it for this review. My next review is definitely my review for Case Closed. Okay? Produce next review. Bye.